Hi, I'm Sheri-Lynn DeMaris, and today I have a wonderful guest who flew here from Europe to be on the show, Seymour, and he's the president and the International School of Healing Arts. He's written over 6 books, one of them that I love, that I read all the time, and has taught me so much about healing emotions, healing, the body, how food interacts. We'll see a short video of him actually cooking. Food influences, of course, your emotions and your spirit. And I'm just so blessed to have you today on our show. Thank you.
Glad to be here.
And do you want to tell us a little bit about how you got started in your work? I know that you studied with Ohashi and did some of his workshops.
Yeah, my first start was actually with Tai Chi and Qigong. The reason I got into holistic health is because I had a near-death experience as a musician on the road, wild lifestyle, and I was misdiagnosed in a Toronto hospital. I had an appendix, but they saw it as something else, and my appendix burst, and I was rushed by the manager of the band I played into intensive care, and while I was recovering in the middle of all that, something happened and I actually had a near-death experience. I was almost pronounced dead, and then I brought myself back to life somehow because I heard a voice saying, "Seymour, what are you doing?" It was really pleasurable going up to the heavens and all that, and get back to where you got work to do. And so I pulled myself back in my body, and ever since then I started studying what I can do about my health instead of putting my health in the hands of others.
And I know that you had studied macrobiotics in the past. We talked about, how you lived in a study house and then traveled and studied with some of the same chefs and teachers that I have known. And but I thought that your technique was so unique in that you put a lot of your intuition. You take your teachings, but then carry them another level in terms of using your own style, your own intuition. Which actually is very healing for the body, in your treatments.
Yeah, while technique is really important and the intellectual, conceptual part of healing may be very important from a systematic perspective, it's really, really important that we connect with people on an individual level, because what's going on with people pretty much is mostly emotional and spiritual. And there are also physical parameters to address as well. So we get to address all of that. Physical, which means exercise, food, sleep. Emotional, which means relationships. And spiritual, for me, means developing intuition, the ability to simply know what to do.
And so many people that we cook for and teach, it's hard. You give them all the right foods, but they still sometimes don't progress because of emotional problem, maybe with their spouse or their family, and that needs to be addressed.
For sure.
And I love the fact of I've sat in your workshops and learned more about feelings and how to go deep into feelings and feel the feeling and address the feeling rather than escaping or numbing oneself out.
Right.
Do you want to share a little bit more about that?
Well, we talked about an example yesterday. I worked on you a little bit, yeah. And so when you asked me for some advice, I immediately went to, instead of a technical answer to you, I went to how your body and your heart center actually feels. And so if I was cooking for you or giving exercises or doing actual body work on you, I would go into that feeling and offer a complementary opposite perspective that you could embrace or not, instead of me just saying a bunch of recommendations.
Which oftentimes people do when they go to these nutritional counselors, and they just get a whole list or a booklet, what has vitamin A, vitamin D, whatever. I'm going to start cooking more carrots, my eyesight's going. but they don't really get in touch with their body and
Right.
how it feels and the energy. Macrobiotics is all about the energy of food, and you're exploring more the energy of the feelings and how that matches up.
Right. So if a person has, let's say, a hardness, just will be really, really simple, in an aspect of their body, then let's cook in a way that complements that. So food can be cooked, soups can be cooked in a way, grains can be cooked in a way that will suggest to that person's body and subconscious that they can soften up. So we almost like planting a seed, a feeling seed, if you will. And we don't do it for them. They go, wow, I really like the way this tastes. And the body remembers that feeling and goes, I want to have more of this in my life. And so they start making decisions that are softer.
And I think you use that throughout your teachings and throughout your treatments. Just your presence sometimes brings people back to the memory of how does my body feel?
Right.
And they get more in touch with their body and they reflect more where in my body is there tightness, where is there tension, where is there pain.
Yeah. And feelings are the strongest energy source available to us. You can go a day, a week without food and still live. Okay? You can be really, really tired and you might need some food to boost your energy. But if somebody says something to you that you don't like, you may not have slept, you may have no food in you, but all of a sudden you have more energy than you ever imagined. Because feelings are the only energy source that are contained within us.
Wow.
Right? Food, we have to go outside. Air, we have to go outside. But if I say something, if I do something to you now and you don't like it, no matter what you've eaten or how little you've slept, you have energy. So it's really, really important that we start tapping into our feelings.
Yes, and how, as a guidance counselor, I knew that was so important for my students, and how important that is to see the signs and signals when people start burying those feelings. Because oftentimes you'll interview anyone who's sick and it comes down to, I'm not happy in this marriage, or, I lost my job or whatever. It's not the illness, it's more the dis-ease or the uncomfortableness with where their life is headed.
For sure.
So in addition to these books, which are fabulous that you've written, and your travels, what are you doing now in terms of teaching? Because I know that you go travel a deal, in California, New York, Philadelphia. You're starting up
Europe. So what I've done is I've honed a lot of these practices that we've discussed into a workshop that I call Shaping Our Destiny. And the premise is that we came here with a purpose to fulfill. Okay? And that purpose has got something to do with taking care of ourselves and serving others. So it's important to get the body in shape physically so that we can take care of ourselves and then start addressing our emotions so that we can start helping ourselves in taking care of other people as well. And then so communication goes along with that as well. So how to communicate with myself, the messages I'm sending within, and also the messages I'm putting out there, even body language wise. Like, I really like you a lot. Is different than, I really like you. Right? So all of that is looked at in the workshops. And then, so physical, again, exercise, food, emotions, communication, listening to our feelings and using them instead of them using us. And then the third part of it is intuition. We all have incredible intuition, and it's time to start using it.
So how do you start getting in touch with your intuition?
Well, the first important element of getting in touch with intuition is to stop this brain. This brain is withheld in a little small space, and it can go crazy. Right? So everybody's talking about, let's change our thoughts and let's get into our thinking. I say the opposite. Get into the body. get into the body, and the brain will come up with absolute wisdom. So
Well, they say that your body actually has that wisdom,
That's right.
even of healing. You know, when you cut yourself, the scab starts healing right away. So when you're in a hospital bed, you know, with a traumatic disease, you can rest assured that with good food and sunlight, whatever, you can start reversing whatever you're going through. But the key is to listen to that and to follow it.
And to follow it,
And
that's
to, oftentimes we're too much in our head and we think this person knows more than I know, and this pill's gonna cure it, and I can just sit back and not take responsibility for it.
Yeah, so the way to get there is, of course, read, study, all of that, and then in a way, just trust that it's there. Quiet the mind as a balance, and the wisdom will just come in.
So quieting the mind. And your
Quieting the mind.
treatments are very, you play beautiful music in the background, and it's very settling, and it's a time to be really quiet and listen. And I think that you really evoke that from people when you work with them, teaching and doing private.
Well, that's why people like
Counseling.
massage so much, is because it gets us out of our heads. When someone's touching you, your attention goes to the place they're touching. And so we give the brain a rest finally.
Yep.
And I'm simply saying do that all the time. Put your attention in your body. While I'm talking with you, I'm feeling, scanning from the top of my head to my body, and I'm feeling, and the words are just coming.
And you don't have to overthink so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people get into that, especially at work with the pressures of emails and texts and things like that. So you're traveling and you're teaching these workshops, but then you're also offering private sessions.
Yeah,
for
and I
body
also
work.
I offer private sessions in body work, exercise training, nutrition, all of that. Excuse me. And it can also be done in distance. So a lot of this, I have students all over the world. So we get together sometimes in person, sometimes in distance. And so
On Skype.
Yeah, you can do it at home.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So after commercial break, we're going to show you a really quick exercise for high blood pressure. And we're going to show you some photos of Seymour's work and talk a little bit more about healing and how simple it is.
So simple. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Sheri DeMaris. Welcome back to Macro Magic. I have with me Seymour Coblin, and he is showing us some like really fun exercises to do at home to help your condition. And we're going to show something to help high blood pressure, which is oftentimes many people when I'm teaching cooking come up to me or filming TV shows. They want to know how to bring my blood pressure down.
Okay.
So this is a real simple technique.
Go ahead, try it at home. You're going to stand with your feet under your shoulders, and you're going to clasp your fingers like so, okay? And you're going to bend your knees. Knees are out, so the weight's on the outside of your feet. You tuck your pelvis under you, and you put your shoulder blades together while you inhale below your navel. Inhaling, and exhale, come up and relax. Now relax a little in here. Good, we'll do that again. Lean back. Tuck your pelvis to keep the kidneys receiving blood through your open heart, so there's a balance between your heart and your kidneys are open, and then come up, exhale.
So this actually starts the blood flow in your kidneys.
Well, what it does is when there's an arch in the back, it tightens the kidneys. So when you bend your knees and turn your pelvis up, you've now relaxed that whole area, the area between the kidneys and the ureter. So now you can filter blood very, very efficiently in that position. So while you do that, you also open the heart.
Yes.
So a lot of times people develop a hunch because their heart can't push the blood through the kidneys or the blood pressure will increase. So they close down their heart.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Okay.
This is very, very common. And then, of course, this has emotional ramifications to it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So one more time.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you clasp your hands.
Tuck your pelvis under you as you bend your knees out, and yes, open up this area. And just go as far as you can. Yeah, that's fine. Inhaling, exhale, and that's it.
Very simple, right?
Yeah.
You can do it at your desk.
Yeah, you can do it at your desk, and
And
there's
oftentimes, with the high blood pressure, people are so alarmed, they call 911 right away, maybe just doing some exercise.
well, this would be for prevention, so that never arises.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we have some photos of your work that we're going to show our viewers. This is a wonderful book.
Food for life. Yeah.
Yeah, your books are amazing because they cover so many topics. We talked about emotions, we talked about food as healing, the chakras, the meridians. I mean, it's very comprehensive.
Right. So this one is specifically on how food can bridge or merge that emotional, that physical, and spiritual aspect.
And your next book, which I have, which I love, it covers everything: the process of death, the healing of the chakras and meridians, and every chapter is different, and I just love it. I take it with me on vacation all the time.
Well, this one is specifically on how to see your health. From the Asian perspective, since they didn't have all those machines to figure out what was going on, they had to look at a body, and after thousands of years of experience and thousands of people, they developed ways to see what was going on the outside. You asked me about that little hand thing, right? You can do this at home. So if you clasp your hands naturally, like this, yeah, easy. Now, do it the other way with your other finger on the bottom. So some of you will have your right on the bottom, some of you will have your left. Do it the opposite way.
Okay.
And do you feel how that's a little uncomfortable? Right? So after thousands of years and thousands of people and watching this very normal hand gesture, it was perceived that if your right finger is on the bottom, which you don't do naturally.
No, I do
what
the
you
other way, my left finger.
Yeah, so if you're right, I'll finish that. If your right finger's on the bottom, it means your overall destiny in life is shaped more by your mother. That's if the right little finger's on the bottom. If your left little finger is on the bottom, it means that your overall destiny and life path is more shaped by your relationship, like him or not, knew him or not, by your father.
So you see which side is more influential in your life.
And so that book is filled with ways to understand what's going on with the individual. And then the second part of the book is that now that you know what's going on with you, how to eat, how to exercise, how to make recommendations so you can shape your destiny. I think
So the other thing that's so amazing is, we do visual diagnosis anyway in macrobiotics, and learn some of these things from Seymour's book. Once you know, and you can look in the mirror and say, my kidneys are a little weak, or my heart's too, full of fat, or whatever, you can actually change that through diet. So that's like the amazing thing. And we had some more photos to show our audience.
Stay fit on trim so you don't ever have to diet or hit the gym. I don't eat spam or green eggs and ham. I like the whole wheat toast with the strawberry jam. That's the type of man that I am. I eat the food that grows up from the land. This is
from your daughter.
Yeah.
And you want to tell us where you'll be in the next couple months, and where you'll be teaching and practicing? I know you hold workshops in San Diego. You're headed out there.
So over the next week, I'm in this area in New York City. Then I go to San Diego. The last weekend of January, I'm in Portland, Oregon. I go to the San Luis Obispo area, Los Angeles, San Diego. That's on this trip.
Oh, you get around.
Yeah.
And then New York City for some workshops and some.
So
if people are interested in having you come to their community, say they get a group of people together and they want you to either give them private sessions or maybe a workshop, how do they get in touch with you?
You can go to the website, isohearts.com. My email, Seymour@isohearts.com.
So you want to spell out ISOHearts?
ISOHARTS
Isoharts
Yes, ISOHARTS
.com
.com. Yeah.
to reach him.
Yeah.
And any more fun tricks that you have up your sleeve?
Well, I think that's about it for now.
Seymour told me he was born on Halloween, so I said
Yes.
that's why he got into this. Well, what I like to say is how much your teachings have influenced me, especially the ones about feelings. Getting in touch with your feelings. When your feelings come up, be brave enough or have guts enough to look at them, see where they're manifesting or feel where they're manifesting in your body, and just be with them.
Be with them.
Try to push them out.
And see if you can remember this. Emotional growth comes from being more comfortable with being uncomfortable. So the more we learn how to be more comfortable with the uneasiness of being uncomfortable, at that point we'll get closer instead of creating distance.
Instead of trying to wipe it, over and over. As a counselor at school, I would just cringe when kids weren't allowed to go through their emotional trauma or were told to shut up and sit down and behave and be quiet, when they did have something that they had to express. And that complete need to shut down your feelings when they, occur is just so unhealthy. Like the body just doesn't, it goes into that flight,
for sure.
Mode, and it doesn't know what to do when confronted with.
Yeah, so that's a big part of our workshops is teaching how to do that, how to use your emotions instead of your energy and motions using you.
Wow, that's powerful. Well, I encourage you all to contact Seymour to read some of his books, possibly get a treatment, have him visit your community, run a workshop. His work is amazing. It's very grounding. It's very necessary right now for people in terms of healing. Like I said, you can eat all the healthy food you want, but if you're not seeing any progress, you really need to work on your emotions and your spiritual outlook and see, if there's any blockages there.
Nice.
So thanks for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
We hope to have you back.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. Thank you all.